So remember at the start I said that we need the process component from Symfony and also the HTTP foundation component. So what we're going to do is we're going to install these now so they're ready to go when we need them. Okay, so what we need to do then is head over to our terminal and we're going to require these in with Composer. It's as simple as Symfony process. We'll wait for that one to download. Okay, so we can now require in Symfony HTTP foundation, and that's done as well. So we now have these available. The next thing within this capture image method, we actually want to go ahead and run the phantom process. So all we're going to do here is start to implement this method, and just while we're at it, I'm going to change these to protected. We don't need them visible publicly. And we're now going to implement that phantom process method. Now this will take a path. That's the temporary files that we've got here. So I'm going to delete that other one now. So it's going to take in a path. We're going to create a process that's going to run phantom.js. We then need to build a JavaScript file which is actually going to make the rendering happen. This will give us our PDF file. So because we are using Symfony's process component, we need to go ahead and import this. So it's Symfony component process. And while we're at it, we'll pull in the HTTP foundation response class as well. That will be for actually responding to the request and allowing the user to download the file. So now what we need to do then is say this phantom process, we pass in the path, we set a timeout as well. This is quite important because if it does timeout, we won't get the result we want. And we're going to say must run, so this has to run. So the phantom process then is as easy as returning a new process, which is Symfony's process component. We pass in the directory, so it's bin or binary phantom.js. If you're using Windows, it will be .exe or something like that. And then we're going to run capture.js, which we haven't built yet. And then we're going to append on the path that we get through. So again, let's just recap. Here we have the file written, and then we get the path back from this method. We then run the phantom process method, which is here. And all this is doing is it's returning a new process. We're hitting phantom.js. We're using capture.js. And the argument that we're passing through to capture.js is the path of the file that we want to take a snapshot of. So now it's up to us to build the script to use phantom.js to actually take a snapshot. So in my root directory, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call this capture.js. And this is now JavaScript, obviously. So we have to require in the file system here. We're also going to pull in our arguments. And we're going to require in web page 2. So all of this is going to allow us to, first of all, use file system. It's going to allow us to pull in the arguments that we have passed through to this, which is the path of the thing that we want to take a snapshot of. And we also have the ability to set up a page, so change the viewport size, change the paper size of what we want to render it as, and then we can obviously use this to render as well. So this is pretty straightforward. The first thing we want to do is actually read the file we pass in. So I'm going to say page.content. So we're assigning that the value fs.read. So we're reading from the file system, and we use args that we pulled in up there to get the first argument. So all that's done is it's assigned to page the content of that temporary file within storage. And then we just want to do a few things like set the viewport size. So this is just an object. We have a width to this. Now I'm just choosing like values I think look good in the end result, but obviously you can play around with these. So here we've got the width and the height set to 1024. And now we can set the paper size of this. And again, this is an object here. And we're going to set the format. I'm going to set that to A2. We're going to set the orientation to portrait. Of course, you can do anything here. And we're also going to set the margin too. And I'm going to choose 1 centimeter. So now what we want to do is delay the page so everything has time to render. And this is mainly for the assets that we've included within our view. So once we have rendered this out, replaced everything, we want to let Bootstrap load in. We want to let this image load in, which is just the Codecourse logo, and anything else we include on the page. It's a good idea though to keep these pages really lightweight, depending on obviously what you're doing. So now then, we're going to say window.setTimeout, and we're going to pass in 1 second. So obviously you can adjust this if things aren't loading in time, but obviously it's up to you. This will delay the execution of your user downloading the PDF file, because obviously the Phantom process has to run all the way through before the actual PDF file is downloaded. So you can adjust this, but if you would set it to say 5 seconds, it will take 5 seconds before your user actually receives the download. So be really careful with this. So now what we're going to do is say page.render, and we're going to again pass in the path that we pulled into the arguments here. And then we just say phantom.exit. So that is it. We can now kind of test this out. So here we are running this process. So let's give it a go. If we head over to our browser, we can get rid of these now, hit enter, and let's see what happened. So over in my text editor, under storage, you can now see that instead of an HTML file, this file is in fact now a PDF file. So we can open this up in here. So if we go back over to storage and we click on this, we can now see, if I just move this into place, we have a PDF file with replace me, and all that stuff. So we need to kind of sort these out. So let's quickly fix up these replacements first of all, and then we can actually look at responding to the user's request and actually downloading that file. So inside of invoice, we've got the number variable here. Let's just take a look on index what we're doing. So we've got order here. So I'm just going to keep this as order and adjust this accordingly. So order. So we now have the amount due, which we passed in amount. So we just update this in here, like so. And then build to, and that's name. Of course, you can customize this however you want. So let's check this out again then. Let's hit enter. And let's go ahead and see this new file. I think it's that one there. Perfect. So I'll just pull this into view, and you can see now we've got that number, we've got that amount, and then we've got the name there being replaced in. So what we've now successfully done is, using Phantom.js, we've actually rendered a PDF file. But how do we respond to that request and actually allow the user to download it? So in the next video, we're going to be doing that.